This is Cindy Moss, and I'm going to give you just a quick overview of what your final presentation should look like and some guidelines that you would want to look at before you start your presentation. I hope we are in week 2, and I hope you have already started maybe just doing your slide for chapters 1 and 2. On your first page, it should be your introduction. You must begin with an introduction, and you have to have a picture. I prefer that it be a webcam picture if you have a webcam available, but if not, then you can use something like I have used here. Now, the presentation I'm getting ready to show you is one that was just submitted from a random student, and I've just pulled out bits and pieces of it and added to it, just enough that you don't feel like you're just lost and not sure what you're supposed to be doing with your presentation. Let me caution you not to use any or any part of this presentation. This is just to give you an idea of how to do your presentation. Two slides are just showing you the rubric. The rubric and the directions and questions are posted in EagleWeb. Don't try to go from this one. Just make sure you print those off and that you have a copy when you're working with it. Your presentation must be a minimum of 14 slides, and that will include an introduction slide. At the very end, you're going to have a summary and a reference slide. Your presentation is to be recorded, and it must be 12 to 25 minutes. You have to have 3 references. You do not have to have a guest speaker for any of your references since you're not a campus student. And then notice over on the other one is the mandatory points. You start with 100 points and then points are taken off. For your reference slide, it can be MLA or APA. I am not picky on which format that you use as long as it's done consistently in one of those. Make sure that you do have a template. I prefer that you use PowerPoint, but you can use any program that as long as it's able to be narrated and I can open it. You want to use smart art and not bullets. And again, it's just as long as it's a program that allows you to do narration. You have to have 2 slides that show graphics on them, and you have to have at least 1 slide with a chart or a graph. It doesn't have to be a chart that you create or a graph. It can be one that you've just pulled in and done a screen clipping and put in your presentation. Okay, this gives you, again, the guidelines, and these are in EagleWeb. And over here are just some examples of some of the chapters that you're going to be doing. Notice on chapter 5, the question, I have changed it, so please do not do anything about credit. I have a scenario that you're going to answer for chapter 5. That's why it's important that you print off this guidelines. Make sure that you are doing your presentation based on you. How does each of these questions and concepts relate to you and your future? Don't just spout off what you've read in the book or watched on the PowerPoints. Tell me, how are you going to use these for you and your family? Just an example of the very first chapter. Again, yours doesn't have to look like this. I've had them that spell out their goals. For instance, the short-term goal is that they graduate and get a full-time job, or since maybe you're already working in it, your diploma would help you get a promotion. The intermediate goals would be that they get a down payment for a house, and long-term goal is that they have a pension plan that they're working on. This student actually spelled out the SMART goals that we learned about in chapter 1 and 2. Again, yours doesn't have to look like this. It just would help you, show you what we're talking about for goals. This student just showed us how for chapter 3 they minimized taxes, how they had planned on different ways of not being deceptive with the government or illegal, but things that they could do to help minimize their taxes. Then this is just showing their chapter 3, you were to decide whether after you graduated or you're in the market for another car, would you buy a new car, a used car, or would you lease a car? And you tell me why. What would best work for you? And then this one is talking about insurance, life insurance, which would be better for this student. So notice again, he is using smart art. He is not using bullets. And then you have a summary slide. Make sure you have that summary slide. Tell me what you learned in this class and how you can apply it to your life, to your family, and what you really took away from the class. And then the works cited, and again, I used APA here. You can use APA or MLA. Again, I'm not picky on that, but you have to have 3 citations, and you're going to use one of them should be your book, and I have that cited up here for you because since it's an ebook, sometimes it's hard to find all the information. But you can use any of the videos that we have posted in our discussion board, any of the citations where you've gone and got information, as long as you make sure that you reference it within your presentation. So I hope that this short video has helped you. I will post another example in EagleWeb of a student that, another student that's done a presentation to help you. Don't wait. Start working on it now. You are beginning now. We're only down to 5 more weeks. So hopefully this will help you and you will get started. Let me know if you have any questions.